So today we need to revisit the transfer portal and talk about two additions that you have got to know about. One, a talented tight end heads to Nebraska as Matt Rule and the Cornhuskers continue to stack talent in that transfer portal class. And the second, another wide receiver added into a already very talented wide receiver room for the Texas Longhorns. Something we've got to break down. But before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I have got to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Are you excited about the moves your team has made in the transfer portal? And let me know your favorite. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification as I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions may seem small, but they are massive to content creators such as myself, and we're on a push to 20,000 subscribers. I'd love nothing more than to have you a part of this unbelievable community. But having said all that, let's jump right into this, and we're going to start with the Nebraska Cornhuskers as they continue getting in recruiting wins and transfer portal wins. Today, focusing on the transfer portal, as the Cornhuskers have added in former LSU and Georgia tight end Arik Gilbert, and this is an intriguing addition because when Arik Gilbert is at his best, he is one of the biggest mismatches in all of college football. When he was at LSU, he was really a major part of that offense and a really tough part to stop. One thing I talk about at length here on the channel, a lot of you may have heard it, Nebraska fans, because I've really just started breaking into Nebraska Cornhusker content. You may not have heard it, but one thing I talk about consistently is that if you're breaking in a new offensive system, a new quarterback, some of the weapons that are that quarterback's best friends are great running back play and fantastic tight end play. And getting Arik Gilbert can absolutely help your quarterback get an easy, instant mismatch. He is that good. And yes, Gilbert has had an intriguing career, transferring from LSU to Georgia, where everybody thought his career would continue to blossom, and we just never saw it come to fruition. He wasn't ever really able to see the field at Georgia for a myriad of reasons, but what's important now is that he has a change of scenery, and hopefully he can get back on track, because I think that would be an awesome story for someone who is incredibly gifted. So this is a massive win for Matt Rule and Nebraska, getting in an instant mismatch, someone that's going to give defenses headaches as they game plan to try and stop him. But it's not just relegated to Arik Gilbert. We need to take a look at this transfer portal class as a whole, which we did the other day when Nebraska got another win from Georgia, MJ Sherman. But I want to take a look at just some of the offensive skill pieces to kind of paint you a picture. Jeff Sims, the quarterback transferring from Georgia Tech to Nebraska, huge win for Matt Rule. We expand. We just talked about Arik Gilbert, awesome win. But then you have Billy Kemp, the wide receiver from Virginia that we really highlighted the other day, someone who's been a productive wide receiver in their entire college football career. And I think you love the experience, production, and upside you get with Billy Kemp. On top of that, you have Josh Fleeks transferring from Baylor to Nebraska, and this dude has legit track speed. So you're stacking mismatches all over the field, and we haven't even began to start talking about Malachi Coleman, the win you got in your recruiting class, keeping him home over the likes of Colorado, and that guy has got a ton of ability. He's considered an athlete. He could play defense, he could play offense. Personally, I'd put him at the offensive side of that ball and just let him wreak havoc. But the Nebraska Cornhuskers are absolutely cooking something here, and I think it's very important. But now we need to transition from Lincoln to Austin, where the Texas Longhorns continue adding talent in that wide receiver room that's already very talented. This time, A.D. Mitchell, someone we talked about the other day when he entered the transfer portal. Really, he's an intriguing blend of size, speed, and route running capability at the wide receiver position, standing once again 6'4". For the Texas Longhorns, if you're able to pair he, Xavier Worthy, Nayor, then you have Brennan Thompson. You have so much talent in that wide receiver room that you have got to be excited about. Now, Mitchell may not have a ton of experience in college football, but he's gone over 500 yards in his career in 2 years, and this year was largely sidelined by an ankle injury, but he still saw 9 receptions where he was able to put together 134 yards and 3 touchdowns, averaging 14.9 yards per reception. In 2021, his freshman campaign, he had 29 receptions for 426 yards, 4 touchdowns, and averaged 14.7 yards per reception. So what you're seeing is a guy that has big play capability written all over him. And when he goes to Texas, defensive backs and defenses aren't going to be able to pool their resources just to watch him. There are too many weapons in that Texas wide receiver room, not to mention the tight ends. But I want to do the same thing we did with Nebraska for Texas. We need to expand and look at this transfer portal class as a whole for the Longhorns, because though they may not have the numbers, that does not mean they're not getting big wins. They only have 4 guys, but all 4 of them, I would argue, are massive wins for Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns. We have A.D. Mitchell, the wide receiver. You're adding him into an already very talented wide receiver room. Interested to see how this works out. But on top of that, one of the best moves in the transfer portal that nobody is talking about is Jalen Catalon, transferring from Arkansas to the Texas Longhorns. And I think a little bit of that is recency bias because injury has sidelined him. But when healthy, this is one of the best playmakers in college football. And if he can get healthy, he will be a huge addition to that Texas secondary. On top of that, they have Gavin Holmes, the cornerback from Wake Forest, who's an experienced player in college football who should be able to utilize that experience, help out the room around him, but also help out that Texas defense. On top of that, they have the punter Ryan Sanborn from Stanford. So, 4 guys in the transfer portal class, but all 4 guys look and seem to be difference makers for Steve Sarkisian and the Longhorns. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You're after difference makers. And it doesn't matter if you get 12 or 4. So long as the guys you get are able to come in and make a difference, that's a win. Can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.